Up next, we'll be having presentation by Michael, Diego will be presenting on mapping for peace and the Unite Maps initiative and the challenges and what they're working on and everything. So if you can go ahead and start, that would be okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I hope you can see my screen. My name is Diego Gonzalez. I am a GIS officer working at the United Nations Global Service Center, based out of the office that we have in the south of Italy, in Brindisi. Thank you very much, first of all, for having us here. We are going to explain a little bit the challenges that we are facing as we are building our community of mappers around OpenStreetMap data. And in my case, I will introduce the overarching initiative that encompasses all these activities. And this is called Unite Maps. What we are trying to do with Unite Maps is to provide to many of our colleagues in the UN, especially in peacekeeping and political missions, with a suite of geospatial products that they need for their daily operations. These products, and I will take you, instead of through a presentation, I'm taking you through a demo, a website that we have built. And these products are the ones that you can see here. We are building a constellation of different location-based services around both internal data, authoritative data from our colleagues in New York, especially related to administrative boundaries, and also OpenStreetMap data, and enriching OpenStreetMap data in order to provide a better service to our colleagues in the field. For both those working in the humanitarian spectrum and those working in the more operational, related to security, related to peace, related to logistics, etc. What we are doing is we are creating what we call a street map. We call it a United Street Map, which is basically equivalent to a base map to provide context to the different geospatial applications. We are also acquiring, purchasing, and creating UAV and satellite imagery, and we are creating another base map to provide context. We are adding contextual information related to our operations in the field, from where the UN operations are taking place, especially in Africa and the Middle East, to supply routes, security routes, helicopter landing sites, everything related to the operations in the field. We are doing this in a 2D and a 3D environment, and we are also providing, obviously, the search capabilities so that our users in the field, they are able to find exactly where they are and to find the different UN camps and compounds and the different activities. And obviously, we are creating our very own navigation tool so that we can go safely from one place to another in remote areas, following the specific patrol routes or the accessibility routes that have been vetted by the UN. Apart from these products that we are developing within the framework of the Unite Maps, I want to explain in a little bit more detail another product that we call Maps on Demand. This is basically an application that you can see here, in which we are empowering non-GIS specialists in the peacekeeping and political missions in the UN to create their own maps with just a couple of clicks of a button. They will be able to select a specific product that we have provided to them, In this case, we have created topographic maps at the scale is 1 to 50,000 and 100,000 scales. And we are also creating maps or giving them the possibility to create themselves their own maps for urban areas. And then another product that we have called Focus Map, which is basically having a map of a specific site at a very large scale. The application is very simple. Unfortunately, at the moment, is not publicly available. Is within the UN domain, and basically, the user is able to select a specific area of interest, and then just with a couple of clicks of a button, just click on the export products, and they will have something similar to this. This is a typical topographic map that is extremely useful for our colleagues in the field. Another product that we are developing is as I mentioned, the urban map. In this case, I selected a random area in DRC, in Kinshasa. And with just a couple of minutes of processing in the background, the user will get something similar to this product. Just a second. Something similar to this. And the same for the focus map, in which they are able to see something to this. So where is all this magic coming from? Basically, the data and the way we work is that we have a dedicated team of about 25 GIS professionals working coordinately here at the UNGSC, United Nations Global Service Center, and also our colleagues in the field missions. And we are having an internal capacity doing mapping on OSM. We have created many areas of interest as per the requests from these field missions, especially in Mali, in Central African Republic, in DR Congo, in Somalia, and in between South Sudan and Sudan. Actually, this year we are covering an area worth of 110,000 square kilometers. And year by year, we are increasing this area. As you can see here, we have in OpenStreetMap, we are creating this data based on the specific guidelines and also working with the community. And as you can see here, we are creating and editing and mapping data covering all aspects of the terrain, from the buildings, footprints, roads, rivers, and land use and land cover. That's the most important thing. So as you can see, all these patches that we are creating in Central African Republic is because within the UN, we are creating this project for the benefit of the UN operations, both, and also for the benefit of the OSM community at large and anyone who wants to create this data. That's one of the pillars. We have an internal capacity doing mapping. But there is another pillar that is extremely important, and is that we have created a crowdsourcing capacity. We have created what we call the UN Mappers community, in which we want to bring people together to map with us in these areas for the benefit of our colleagues and the benefit of the community at large. So that we can all collaboratively work together and carry on these activities. And for this, we are doing many tasks in the tasking manager. And I would like to pass the floor now to my colleague, Mikael, who will be explaining in more detail all the different challenges that we are facing when building the community and working with a very diverse and large audience and people and mapping together. Thank you very much, and Mikael, over to you.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me and see me maybe. Also, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, yes, as Diego was, okay, so first of all, I'm Mika Montani, GIS consultant at the UNGSC, and I am the responsible of the crowdsourcing activities for Unite Maps. As Diego was saying, we are basically editing data on OpenStreetMap, like every feature from land cover to land use, waterways, highways, places like villages, isolated dwellings, and so on. And we are doing this also, I mean, not only with the internal capacity of mappers, but also with an external community of volunteers. And basically, when editing OpenStreetMap, an important thing is not only to add data, but I mean, it is most importantly, we have, as an organized editing activity, we have to interact with the different local communities, also other OpenStreetMap groups that are working and editing our areas of interest. And so we have both to follow rules, good practices in OpenStreetMap, but also to leverage our mapping to the one that the local communities are doing in their countries. So with this philosophy, we created UN Mappers. UN Mappers is a community, well, a thriving and diverse community. I also like to define it as a network, because it both groups like experienced mappers and groups of communities, I mean, communities in OpenStreetMap, but also new mappers. So this community ranges from UN personnel in the field. We are engaging with GIS groups, offices, military and police, to academia. We are organizing many mappathons with high schools and universities in Italy, and we plan to expand also to Africa and Europe. And also we are engaging with local communities, NGOs, and ideally any remote volunteer in the world. With the UN personnel, we did a training, a 2 months virtual weekly training, in which we were explaining to GIS groups, military and police how to edit OpenStreetMap, but not only, also teaching the philosophy of open data and the importance of OpenStreetMap in the geospatial world. And also with local communities, we are organizing many mappathons and trainings, especially on these topographic editing activities, as the ones we organized with OpenStreetMap Mali and OpenStreetMap Somalia. Another important point about local communities is that we are letting them choose our areas of interest to be put in crowdsourcing mapping. So basically, the very same local communities are telling us where are the areas that they believe the UN Mappers community can extract the best data, both because they have maybe local knowledge of some areas in which we are working on, and they can be very helpful in many situations. So among our activities, we have these tasking manager projects. You can see them in the tasking manager by searching UN Mappers organization. But also we are organizing some crowdsourced imports of UN data into OpenStreetMap, as for example the waterway data from UNSOS in southern Somalia. We are also organizing educational activities, as I was saying, like trainings and mappathons. We are writing editing guidelines, and there is a Moodle facility called the Unite Maps Learning Hub, which is coming soon. So stay updated to have more information about this. And then, okay, we are present on every social media. You can easily reach us. And to contribute is basically very simple. You just add the hashtag UNMappers to your changed comments, and you will be tracked in our statistics. So let me show you the projects. We have one project for each country, and basically we are mapping the topographic features. We have one in Mali, Central African Republic, and Democratic Republic of the Congo, Somalia, and ABA, plus 3 imports that have been accepted by the overall OpenStreetMap community. On the task manager, when accessing our project, you can see a detailed list of instructions, and these instructions are basically in many languages. We have them in Italian, French, English, and Spanish. and they are explaining every tag we are using, and both with images and examples, in such a way that we can both help the contributors to understand what we are searching for and what we are editing. As I was saying, we are tracking our mappers, so we are checking the statistics, their contributions, and we have up to now up to 864 contributors, and we edited in 1 year 3 million of edits on OpenStreetMap. And we have also a nice leaderboard, which is like a sort of gamification we are setting up with our community. So as you can see, there is this wiki page, which is the leaderboard, and you can see like the global leaderboard of the UN mappers with links to the missing maps and the badges links, but also the number of edits the user contributed, the number of the number of kilometers of waterways, highways, square kilometers of land cover and use that they mapped, the mapping days in the last 2 months, and the first and last contribution. And these leaderboards are actually available for any country in which we are working on. We are basically we have also a crowdsourcing contribution heat map that allow us to see where the contributors are mapping. And curiously enough, many contributors are mapping also in areas that we are not dedicated to tasking manager projects. But we are not only mapping, but also creating nice community activities. Like, for example, our UN Mappers logo contest, which was won by Limo Collins, a Kenyan student, that initially provided an idea of the logo, and then he had the possibility to collaborate with the internal design team of UNGSC to better define the logo and to make it official. So this is like our new version of the logo, and a way in which the community has been we interacting with the community also in a non-mapping way. And also soon we will have also merchandise about UN mappers, so stay tuned for that. So as I was saying, we are doing educational activities. I will say that we value the community more than the data. Indeed, our main goal is to empower and mapping the overall OpenStreetMap community. I mean, both interacting with local communities and other groups. So what we are doing is to basically continuously validate our tasking manager projects, report problems, and teach how to get better in editing in such a way that contributors can get some experience and can get better. I mean, we are like investing in our external contributors. And also we will be providing educational material through the Moodle platform in, as I was saying, English, French, Spanish, and Italian. And also maybe in the future also other languages. So basically you can find us in all the social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Eventbrite, and so on. Or you can send us emails like I will show now the questions for the dialogue. If if you want, you can also reply sending us an email to un.mappers@un.org, and and basically you can also ask to be inserted in our mailing list to be updated on all our events. So the links are those ones. You can find them in the slides that I shared with you in the chat. So let's go to the questions that maybe we have few time, or and then we can answer to all the questions that we have in the chat. So the first question for our dialogue is
a question from Tyler.
Yes,
it's a very valid question. And you are totally right. In the DPKO DFS world in the past, what the missions were doing was to create topographic maps just with a very tedious and locked data schema that was unfortunately used only once for the production of the maps, but was never updated nor verified in the field. About 3 years ago, and this is when the Unite Maps initiative comes in, we decided to change completely the mindset and the paradigm, and we wanted to embrace the open source and especially the OpenStreetMap community. So now the idea is that to have a win-win scenario in which we can support OpenStreetMap, and at the same time, obviously, getting help and support from a wider community, such as the OSM community. So instead of having the data extracted internally and used only by the UN and never updated, now what we have done is to create the data and update the data on OpenStreetMap so that we can fetch this data on a daily basis dynamically, so that we can use the data flexibly for many different products. One of those, obviously, is the production of the topographic maps, as I showed in the presentation, but also many other products like base maps that we are creating as well, navigation tools, etc. Apart from that, from the old data that we created years ago, what we are doing actually now is doing crowdsourced imports. We have actually added and gone through to the process of imports, and we have added actually on the hot tasking manager a couple of projects specifically for the imports of waterways in Somalia. This data is coming from this old data feature extraction that we did in the past, and that we now want to give to the community as open data. So we do believe that with the UN Mappers community and the Unite Maps initiative, we are reaching a win-win situation with the community at large. So thank you very much for your question.
Okay, hi everyone. So it's Laura here at the MC. So I'm sorry, but I'll have to cut off the Q&A session just because we are way over time. But I'd encourage the speakers to kindly answer the questions on the document that was shared with them, and then you can be able to share that with the rest of the attendees. But thank you so much for sharing with us about the UN Maps initiatives and how they're putting in place projects and initiatives to map and support projects that are focused on peace building across the world. So